Today we're going to figure out what organization members from the original Organization 13 were morons, which ones were average, and which ones were absolute 250 IQ masterminds. Keep in mind that the guy who's actually making this video is a grade A retard, so I don't think that I'm the best to judge this, but nonetheless, I'm gonna do it. So let's start with Xion. So Xion starts off the game like a zombie, but by the time Cage 358 over 2 days ends, and upon her returning Cage 3, she is not a dumbass by any means. That said, I don't think that she's an absolute genius, so I do think that it's safe to say that she's a good candidate for the average category. Now, Roxas is a bit of a different story in my opinion. Roxas started off as arguably even more of a zombie, but compared to Xion, I feel like he understood a lot more things, especially towards the ending of days. He figured out how he was to the organization nothing but a mere tool and decided to dip. He was also the one to figure out their plans for both Xion and him, and by the end of the game and even in Cage 3, Roxas does seem like a pretty intelligent dude. I mean, he read those fuckers like a book, and especially considering how he started, I feel like Roxas is our first candidate for the genius category. Next up is Larxene. Now, Larxene in my opinion is an average tier character. She clearly knows how to pique someone's curiosity, how to confuse someone, which makes her not a complete dumbass. However, combining that with how she behaves in general, otherwise likes to, belittle people and whatnot, I feel like it's altogether kind of a balanced out thing, and it puts her, in my opinion, in a simple average category. Not retarded, but not a genius by any means. Moving on to Marluxia. Now, Marluxia in Chain of Memories is actually a pretty smart dude. He had a good plan to use Sora as his pawn to overthrow the organization. The whole plot and plan in Chain of Memories was orchestrated by him specifically, and he actually came close to succeeding. All of the times we see Marluxia, it seems like he's a lot more careful with his words than not. He's a calm dude, he is clearly no moron, and while I wouldn't really put him in that same category as, let's say, Roxas, I feel like he is a really smart dude, and that places him in between the average and genius categories in my opinion. Next up is Luxord. Now, this dude might be the smartest Organization 13 member there is. This dude is hiding something. He doesn't say a lot, but when he does, is that shit impactful and thought-provoking. I feel like this dude's one of the easiest to put in the genius category, at least for me, in the state that we're with this character now, as we don't really know what he's planning, but we all have a feeling it's something really big. Now on to Dimix. Dimix is an interesting dude. At first he seems as a pretty dumb dude, not gonna lie, and from what we see of him for now, it seems to be the case that more so than not, his brain is fried like a KFC drumstick. I do also think that we will see a lot more of him, and that he is another candidate for catching everyone off guard and laughing in the face of those who underestimated him. But as he stands right now, he's clearly not the sharpest tool in the shed, being somewhere between the average to dumbass ratio. Not a complete retard, but a little bit of a retard nonetheless. But sometime in the future, I would definitely not put it past him to move to the genius category with the help of just one singular insane scene with the guy. Also, real quick, if you're enjoying this video right now, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, and if you do so, I might give you a chocolate chip cookie, although probably not. Moving on to Axel. Now, Axel is one smart motherfucker. This dude can do anything. A hitman, a master of deception, but also a loyal and protective friend. He literally tricked everyone in Chain of Memories and infiltrated himself on Xemnas' orders amongst the traitors who were at Castle Oblivion, while also having his own side plan to take over the organization. He also during days comes up with a plan to save Xion when she can't use her Keyblade, because if he didn't come up with this plan, Xion would have been turned to a dusk, and that would have been it. He also seems to be a fast learner while training as a Keyblade wielder. All things considered, I feel like Axel has an easy entrance into the genius category, at least compared to everyone else. Now on to Saïx. Out of them all, Saïx is the most clinically insane dude, but other than that, he seems like at least a decently intelligent dude. During days, he figures out that Axel was close with Roxas and Xion and whatnot, and he probably planned to set them both up to destroy each other, and to come up with a plan like that, you can't exactly be a moron. He is a ruthless, calculating motherfucker who is not to be messed with. However, the main reason as to why I will put him between the average and genius category is because of his jealousy, and secondly because of him heavily underestimating both Roxas and Sora, who respectively kicked his ass without a single problem. Now on to Zexion. Zexion's a smart dude, and while we don't really see much of him, he was one of Ansem the Wise's apprentices, and he is absolutely no dumbass. He doesn't make quick dumb decisions, he observes a lot, he clearly belongs in the genius tier. Hell, I would say that he's even smarter than his mentor, Ansem the Wise, who, while a smart and wise dude, I actually just did that on accident, that wasn't even meant to be a joke, but fuck it, I'm leaving it in. He has though done some stupid things while being consumed with revenge, which cannot be said about his apprentice who we just talked about. Next up is Lexaeus. Lexaeus is definitely more so than not a smart dude. However, I do wish that we saw more of him so that I could judge him more properly, but from what we have seen, he's not explosive or jealous like Sayax, he's not vain as shit like Larxene, and he's very calm, similarly to Zexion actually. However, I don't want him in the genius tier simply because we haven't seen enough of him, in my opinion, to put him there, so I do think that he would be sitting comfortably in the average tier, but closer to genius than a dumbass, of course. Moving on to Vexen. Now, Vexen is a scientist. He's a smart dude, he makes replicas of people that would with time become indistinguishable from humans, and all of that in my book is enough to put him in the genius tier without much doubt. Now on to Zaldin. The thing with him, in my opinion, is the exact same as it was with Lexaeus. He doesn't come off like a dumbass, but I haven't seen enough of him to be able to think of him as a genius either, so I feel like he would, just like Lexaeus, sit comfortably in the average tier, at least for now. Also leaning more on the genius side than not, especially when you consider his master manipulation skills that he demonstrated in Beast's Castle during Kingdom Hearts 2. Now on to Xigbar, aka Lushu. This motherfucker is hands down the biggest mastermind of them all. This dude fooled everyone. Xemnas, Xehanort, Sora's gang, the entire organization. He deceived everyone and anyone there is, changed multiple identities, and in some way manipulated time to work in his favor while remaining undetected by literally anyone. And the only person that actually came really close to figuring him out is actually Luxord, or maybe he knew, but that's something we will have to find out in the future. So without a doubt, the easiest conclusion ever, Xigbar makes it to the top of the genius tier, hands down the smartest mofo around. And lastly, the human subwoofer known as Xemnas. Xemnas is, I think, on the same level as Sayax in the sense that he is calculating, manipulative, and deceiving. However, he is a lot smarter than Sayax, as he doesn't let jealousy get in the way of things. He's not very temperamental like Sayax. Everything this dude does is carefully thought out, and he knows how to make things work in his favor and just the way he wants them to. And the only person who could actually see through his bullshit goal that he cemented into everyone else's brain was Roxas. Roxas, like I said, is a really smart dude. I feel like people underestimate Roxas greatly now that I think about it. However, all things considered, Xemnas comfortably takes the genius tier without much second thought. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. This has been Organization 13 members ranked by dumbass, average, or genius by a retard. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you want to see more of these Organization 13 members themed videos, leave the topics that I should discuss in the comments down below. Until next video stream, bye bye.